Now, Lil Pump, what is really even happening with Lil Pump nowadays? Did he fall off? Does anybody care about him anymore? The real answer is Lil Pump's hype has completely died down. Obviously, nothing lasts forever, and we all saw this coming, but why? Why is this even happening? Lil Pump's entire wave when he was first coming up back in 2017 was big. Gucci Gang was of course the song that skyrocketed his entire movement to the top. Even before the success of Gucci Gang, his movement was noticeably big. The music videos he did with Cole Bennett played a big part in this, and after he started taking off, a lot of his other songs like his self-titled one and the track Elementary started getting a lot of attention. Now, this is of course the music side of things, but we all know when it comes to Lil Pump, there's another big factor to his success, and it has nothing to do with him rapping. That other factor is simply his antics. I'm talking about him shooting a gun out the window. I'm talking about him trying to start a beef with J. Cole for no reason. I'm also talking about him being an Instagram comedian and using social media in a way where what he does is in the focus and not what he is. This is actually the real reason why not many people genuinely care about Lil Pump in 2019. This whole thing of him being a comedian first and a rapper second is kind of played out, to be honest. And in Pump's case, that's the thing that's leading to his downfall. What exactly did J. Cole say on the fall off? In 5 years, you're gonna be in love and hip hop? Simple. Even though Cole might have not literally meant what he said, this line actually speaks volumes, and he said it for a reason. All the activities Lil Pump has involved himself in that deflect from the music itself has solidified exactly what kind of image he has and what kind of rapper he is. People have always looked at Pump as a joke. His reckless, ignorant, and I don't give a damn, I'm a rebel attitude is exactly why he's successful. People go to his Instagram just to get a good laugh. That's where this ends. That's the real reason why Lil Pump has 18 million followers on Instagram and couldn't even sell 50,000 first week on his latest album. The kids love him on the gram, but they don't care about him enough to want to support his records. See, the thing is though, someone like him is always going to have a platform. There's always a demand for a Lil Pump, no matter how big it is, no matter how small it is. People are always going to be drawn to this kind of behavior because it's entertaining. I've talked about DaBaby, who also has this entertaining factor when it comes to him. It's a big part of why he's so big right now. It's the 6ix9ine effect a lot of rappers are going for. There's a lot of exposure and clout you can squeeze out of this realm, and obviously the method works. But is even going this route worth it? I'm asking this because we've seen what happened with Lil Pump, we've seen what happened with 6ix9ine. Even though 6ix9ine's success was cut short due to him involving himself in a bunch of illicit activities, at the end, his antics, his image, his quote-unquote hard persona, and his behavior brought him to the fall-off zone, which is the point I'm trying to make here. One thing I want to say is Lil Pump clearly had way more genuine support when he was first coming up at the beginning of 2017. That was of course underground Pump. That was before the copious amounts of drugs Pump. That was when the music was the #1 focus and not my persona Pump. How could he even stay winning and keep the train going when his attention is so divided right now? I'm saying this because have you listened to Lil Pump's recent single titled Supposed to Do featuring Quavo and French Montana? Number one, the song is absolutely horrible. I mean, goddammit, if you've listened to it, you know what I'm talking about. And number two, did you know that Quavo's verse is a sped up version of another verse he did over 4 years ago? What I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do, what I'm supposed to do. Lil Pump believed in this song so little to the point where Quavo recording an actual verse wasn't even an option. Of course, things can be extremely busy in the music industry, and it's not always as simple as recording a feature in some situations, but still, it's a very bad sign. The song is also only sitting at a little below 4 million views on YouTube, and keep in mind, it's been over 2 months since it dropped. And on Spotify, what about Spotify, the place where rappers get the majority of their streams? The track hasn't even reached 6 million streams. Just to put things into perspective, when Gucci Gang was at its peak, the song was getting around 1 million plays daily, and now he can't reach the amount of streams he was reaching in less than a week in 2 whole months, almost actually 3 months. Even though it's not completely fair to compare Gucci Gang to Supposed to Do, it does show you a big shift in how things are going for him, which is the point. The dilemma for Lil Pump though is how is he gonna deal with this fall off? One way he's actually dealing with it is by purposely creating controversy so people talk about him and he gets more coverage, and that way he stays relevant. You know how I made this video you're seeing on the screen right now back in May this year? He made some comments on Instagram about how no one has done what he's done at the age of 18, and honestly, like the title of the video, Lil Pump is wrong. The point of me bringing this up isn't to discuss this topic all over again. I'm bringing this up because I want to tell you that I in fact fell for the bait. Obviously, Lil Pump himself doesn't believe in what he said. Trust me when I say that. I know this because the pattern continues. Just a couple months prior to that, he hopped on Twitter and said this: "It's scientifically proven that I'm the most lyrical rapper of all time." What happened after this? Of course, a bunch of articles started popping up left and right reporting on what he said. And then just around 3 weeks ago, he said that he was the king of Miami. Even though there's way more things I could bring up, I wanted to show you these 3 and ask you, do you see the pattern? Lil Pump is a rapper who's built his entire image on controversy and when his name is brought up, all the outrageous things he's done are in the focus and not really him. He's of course showed us some moments of sensitivity and broke character in a couple of different situations, and I've talked about both of those situations on my channel. A lot of people, including me, felt compassion for him when he was crying for help. Check out some of these comments from one of those videos I made. Lil Pump hasn't been looking good lately. I feel like he's gonna spiral down. He needs a normal life. The spotlight is too much for him. I'm not a fan of him, but it'll still be sad to lose him. Although I strongly dislike him, it would be depressing to see another rapper go. Even though we're talking about Lil Pump, who's very far from a likable person, at least in my opinion, these are some moments where you can't help but feel sorry for him. You know, at the end of the day, he's kind of making it hard to actually like and support him because he's so damn obnoxious. We all know that. But when that human side starts to come out, people who don't even like Lil Pump to begin with are going out of their way to not only watch a YouTube video about his situation, but they're also going out of their way to show him a little bit of love. Let me tell you one thing about Lil Pump. He's kind of put himself in a very tough spot as far as his music career goes. Lil Pump is the kind of rapper who, if he doesn't update his social medias, you forget about him. This is not a person who's gonna stay on your mind for a very long time. But how come that's the case though? Well, that's the case because his entire career, music and persona is built on jokes and ignorance. Although I can of course remember some very funny moments that Lil Pump has been involved in that I'll personally probably remember for a very long time, at the end of the day, it's not something that I can't get anywhere else. People have now moved on from over-the-top, obnoxious, and ignorant Lil Pump to the funny, charismatic, but sometimes angry and savage DaBaby. When you're playing this who's the most entertaining rapper game like Mr. Harvard graduate has for these past 2 years, you're gonna have a very hard time competing with the rest because there are more of them like you out there. The second people get tired of all the clowning you're doing on social media, they're gonna move on to the next entertaining rapper. This is simply a case of being a slave to your image. When everything you've done and do is overly exaggerated, you can't take a step back and take a chill pill. You constantly have to be all up in people's faces thinking about the next controversial move that's gonna force BlackySpeakz to make a video on you. Yes, I bet that's what Lil Pump is thinking. But nah, seriously, when you've showed people that you'll go out of your way to be a dancing monkey, that's all they're gonna expect from you. And these expectations are gonna lead to you setting a standard for yourself. Now, what exactly is this standard that I'm talking about? Let me further explain. So to explain my point, I wanna use NF as an example here. I know you're scratching your head right now wondering, why are you bringing up NF in a video about Lil Pump? There's a reasoning for this, so hear me out. As far as social media goes, if you know anything about NF, he's very minimalistic when it comes to it. The guy simply never tries too hard when he's using it. I want to use this Instagram picture right here as an example. So as you can see, this is a blank black picture NF posted on his Instagram 2 days before he dropped his song, The Search. Now, any NF fans out there watching this are going to confirm what I'm going to say next. NF's strategy to using social media when it comes to connecting with his fans is a strange one that a lot of people outside of his fan base simply won't understand. This black photo right here, okay, just a plain black photo, nothing else, got over 6,000 comments and almost 200,000 likes, and it sparked a lot of conversations within his fan base, which was exactly the point. Now, where exactly am I even taking this comparison with Lil Pump though? The difference between Lil Pump and NF is one of these rappers isn't gonna have to worry about keeping up his social media activity. Matter of fact, if he's gonna worry about it, he doesn't have to go out of his way to entertain you to the point of that taking a toll on him. Because don't forget, no matter what industry you're in, keeping up an image can definitely drain you. And the other rapper here, he's gonna have to live up to the standard people expect from him. In the process, his music is of course gonna suffer quality-wise because he's an Instagram comedian first and a rapper second. And this is the standard that I'm talking about for the most part, okay? Not always, for the most part. The way you come into the rap game is usually how you leave in the rap game because that's the perception you've helped build of yourself. And by the way, that Instagram thing that I'm talking about is no joke. I mean, just think about it. Most likely, okay, not always, most likely, your favorite rapper's social media is a lot of times a reflection of what kind of rapper they truly are. Look at someone like Cardi, okay? Playboy Cardi. He's not only minimalistic on social media, but he also has a lot of minimalistic elements in his actual music. Of course, it's not always the case, that's not what I'm saying, but building your name as a rapper and using social media are two things that go hand in hand. You could always try to fake it and not be your authentic self on there, but people are not stupid and they're gonna see right through it. As far as Lil Pump though, he's really backed himself into a corner because nobody takes him seriously and he can't get out of that hole for the life of him. The entire marketing scheme / plan, because that's exactly what it is, behind his success was to act as stupid and as ignorant as possible so he could garner as much attention with the help of social media as possible, and that's just not sustainable. We know that. At some point, the clout sauce, actually not clout sauce because sauce actually lasts a very long time, so the clout juice is gonna run out, especially when people can't relate to you on a personal level. That's why the most successful rappers always have that relatability factor in common. This is what it comes down to. I've said this about Lil Pump in the past and I'm gonna say it again. He's very disposable and easily replaceable. Even though the formula of doing stupid shit online works, it's it's never gonna stick long term. Sure, there's always gonna be a demand for this kind of rapper, and Lil Pump will most likely be eating off of his brand for a while, but the harsh truth is the fall off is inevitable, especially for him. There's two things that can happen here. Either Lil Pump's next album is gonna be an absolute success filled with multiple hits, it does some crazy numbers and people are gonna love it, or number two, the album flops, he's holding on to the little bit of relevancy he has left in his career by creating controversy. He also fails at that, and then in the near future, he's on his way to being on Love and Hip Hop. What do you think? Let's have a discussion about this.